Hello, wonderful Herzog community. My name is Hanan Sweezer, and welcome to this week's Menschlichkeit in the Parsha. In this week's Parsha, which is Behar Bechukotai, we are introduced to the concept of the sabbatical year. And a brief understanding of it is that the lands of Israel operate on a 7-year cycle. And on and in the 7th year of that cycle, we are commanded to let the lands rest. We are not allowed to do any additional farming. We cannot generate new produce from the lands. We cannot sow new seeds. We cannot turn over new lands. We are commanded to let the land rest and recuperate after successive years of production. I feel like the trait of Menschlichkeit, which we can talk from, or at least I'm going to be talking from, in this week's Parsha, is the trait of Acharayut, which is responsibility. I feel like our lives often demand a lot of us. They often put a lot of expectation onto who we are, pulling us in many, many different directions. And I think seldomly do we look at that level of expectation with a certain amount of criticism and a cognizance towards our own limitations and our needs. The Torah's preference for this idea of a seventh year of rest and recuperation, or sometimes mirrored in the cycle of the week in that we have Shabbat, is this idea that sustainable productivity is much, much more important than the urgency of, say, immediate tasks. Sure, we have those things maybe in front of us that really do require some high levels of attentiveness. But at the end of the day, we have to take a certain amount of responsibility for our own capacity and for our own energy levels. That we need to be caring, compassionate to who we are as individuals, and be readily aware to look at those expectations and say that we need a break, that we need time to rest. And it's not, just amusing at the idea of best practice or the best way to do things at an optimum level of mental health. It's a core concept of who we are, and a core concept towards the betterment of our lives. Is that yes, there are a lot of things that are required of us, and yes, we are capable of very many things, but we are also people. We do also have those limitations. We do have needs that need attending in order for us to be happy and healthy. And one of the most important things we can do for ourselves, and one of the most important things that we can do, is take on responsibility for our own energy levels. Often it is the thing that makes the difference when it comes to the fidelity of our output, of whether we make good on our commitments and the quality of our commitments, is that we take the time to recuperate, to rest when we need it, and to take ownership of that, and not necessarily be apologetic about it, but to embrace it, to embrace this idea that we as individuals require time and require effort to have solitude, have quiet, have peace as a cycle towards actualization, development, and success.